quick break. I just want to say thank you for all the people around the world, Jamaica, Germany, Asia, Europe, South America. Thank you for listening to Leap of Health. Thank you for the support. And remember, my book is out. You can find it on Barnes & Nobles and Amazon. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you again for all the support. And now, back to our episode. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Alex Valgood, and this is Leap of Health. And today we have such a special guest. We're going to be talking about quantum healing. In this case, we're going to be talking about QHH. That stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis. And that's a whole full matter, but it's really, really cool. And I think you guys are going to enjoy this conversation. I think this is important, especially when we're looking for a lot of different modalities to healing. I think this will be one more to put on our healing belt. So I think it's going to be so awesome. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here today.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to chat with you and spread awareness about quantum healing to your listeners. Thank you for having me on the show today, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you. And you are a QHHT practitioner. You're also a podcaster.
Yes.
And a creator too. So we love that. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you become to be all this practitioner now. And, you're healing and helping these people within the quantum realm now.
Absolutely. So, just like many, I think, healers or people in general, I was always very much aware as a young child that there was more to life than just the typical, 9 to 5, going to work. I always just felt that there was a deeper purpose. And as I got older, I got wrapped up with, I will just call it the matrix. And I just really started to feel, the older I got, though, that my life purpose wasn't being served. I was bouncing from high stress job to high stress jobs. I was a senior executive. I would have large teams of several hundred people under me. And I'll be honest, I was miserable. I came to a point in my life where would lay in bed all day on Sunday crying because I didn't want to go to work the next day. And what changed my life was discovering a woman called Dolores Cannon. I believe I found her on YouTube at the time. This was back in 2017. And instantly, I just went down the Dolores Cannon rabbit hole, looking up and researching everything about her. She was talking about how she would uncover information in her sessions through her clients' subconscious minds, would talk to her about past life regression. The subconscious mind would do self-healing of, releasing trauma, tell the clients their life purpose. And she had found this very unique way to specifically call forward the higher self, which is the part of us that's connected to source. And so instantly I started to look for a practitioner. And I could not find anybody here in Las Vegas, because not that it wasn't widely known, because it actually was a world, it's practiced worldwide, but there just wasn't anyone in my area. So I found somebody. The closest I could find was in Los Angeles. And I flew out there and I had a session, and my higher self told me to become a practitioner. I was shocked. And so I didn't really know at the time, Alex. I was very confused. I didn't know what to do with that information. So I went back to work, working my miserable job, and just knowing I wasn't living my purpose until, funny enough, when the pandemic hit. And I'm sure that this was, interestingly enough, a catalyst for change for so many people. But when the pandemic hit, I decided to take a really long look at myself and my career path. And I had that little nagging voice, which now I know, not that it's nagging, but that little voice in my head, which is my higher self, saying, you're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be doing this. And so I decided to leave my job. And it was really scary. I'll be honest. I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, I knew what I was going to do, but I didn't know how the money was going to come. But I just trusted and I got trained as a practitioner. And here I am now. It's been about 2.5 years, and I'm living my purpose. I'm helping people. I've started a podcast, and I'm here talking today and about this method of healing because it's changed my life and so many of my clients' lives.
I love that. I think a lot of us sometimes get stuck in this, little jobs from 8 to 5
Mhm.
that sometimes we cannot stand. We really hate them. It doesn't really serve us in any way. And I know for everybody that's listening, sometimes we feel like we have to do this or there's no other way. But I think we do a disservice of ourselves sometimes because I feel like
Mhm.
we could do so much more, but we just need that little trust in the universe, higher self, God, whatever you want to call it. That
Mhm.
um, if you just trust, sometimes magical things happen. And so I'm so happy that you actually trust in it. Now we have a practitioner in Vegas. So that's
Yes.
awesome. So tell us a little bit about this modality. How does it work? Is it very um, close to just the hypnosis therapy that sometimes people does, or how does that differs from what you do,
Mhm.
or how does this works?
Absolutely. Thanks. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. Because QHHT, which what that stands for is quantum healing hypnosis technique, is very different than a typical hypnosis. And the main difference is that Dolores Cannon had discovered that she could connect the clients to the higher self, which is the part that's connected to source. So we go in QHHT, we go deeper, we go into the parts of the subconscious mind where a typical hypnosis does not go. And that's where the real interesting stuff happens. So, just so the listeners understand what happens in a session, there's so many things that occur. First, when we enter hypnosis, the first portion of the session is a past life regression. So the subconscious will bring forward a lifetime that your soul has experienced where you need to either A, remember the previous life lesson that was associated with that life path, or B, it'll bring it forward because there's a lot of trauma that you're still holding in the body that needs to be released. And let me tell you that I have heard some very interesting past life regression stories. I've had clients regress to previous planets. I've had clients regress actually to different dimensions, even previous lives. So your subconscious mind knows exactly what you need for healing and will bring you there. Then the next phase of a session is we do a between life exploration. So after you've passed from that life, your subconscious will show you what occurs on the other side. Sometimes people even actually have things that they do on the other side. I've had some clients who don't necessarily accept life, do life journeys. They actually are on the other side helping like assign lifetimes or helping to review lifetimes or doing soul cleansing. So there's a lot of very, very interesting things that come to surface in the between life exploration. And next phase after the between life would be when I actually call forward the higher self and to say, I'm calling forward the higher self of Alex. Please come forward. I'd like to ask you some questions. And then your higher self will come forward. This is where the quantum aspect comes into play because when I'm connecting with that version of yourself that's connected to source, there is no time. And what I mean by that is we're connecting to the part that knows everything. We very easily access the Akashic records for information for you. And time is quantum with that connection. So there's no past, present, future. If I try and ask you a question about like a date or time frame, sometimes the subconscious will say, I don't understand. There is no time here. So that hence the quantum aspect. We will scan your body from head to toe, and the higher self will look for trauma that is stored. It could even tell me the event, time, and day that the trauma entered your body, how long it's been there, how it's impacting organs, cells in your body. We look for chakras that are not open, misalignment, and self healing does occur. Self healing does happen. Your subconscious will heal using, sometimes it'll be the power of thought, it could be energy, it could be light, that comes through like a healing light energy. There's different ways that different people will do the self healing.
Mhm.
And the final portion, sessions are pretty long, but the final part, which is actually, I think it is my favorite, is as a client, I will ask you to come up with important life questions that you have and to present them to me. And I will actually ask, I have a direct two-way conversation with your higher self, and we'll ask questions. Typical questions are, what is my life purpose? Am I in the right, career path? What about my relationship, finances? Any question absolutely imaginable that you want to ask, your higher self knows the answer to, it will respond. And then everything's recorded for you. So after the session, I send you your audio recording, or if we're doing an online session, then I send you the online recording so that you can play it back and receive all of the information, advice, and healing from your higher self.
That is really, really awesome. I
Yeah.
know this might sound a little woo-woo for some of
Mhm.
you that had just connected to my podcast, but we do have we do have a lot of information on my past podcast too. Also, I have Mark Over. If you guys haven't heard of him, do make sure to go to him. If you are more in this scientist mind, he explains how past lives and all these that we're talking about is actually true and happens and it's proven scientifically. So I
Mhm.
always like to refer to him because he has a big research in his podcast and his book. So it gives you a very clear idea of what we're talking about. Because I was one of those very skeptic persons of like, no, this is not true. This sounds weird. I don't have past lives or reincarnation. It's weird and all these things. But I think once you see some of his research and what he's doing, I think it gives you a really awesome idea of all these things that are true. At least to you and me, that we understand this on a very different level. So I just think this is great because sometimes, especially when it comes to healing, and someone has like weird pain in their
Mhm.
stomach or their heart or their lungs, and they just went through all the medicine that they could get a hold of, and they're like, nothing, they can find nothing, but I'm still sick, or there's something still off with my physical body. They find people like you that are doing all these healings, and you can give them a different answer. Do you find a lot of people that comes to you for those things, that they have this annoying pain here or there, or a certain condition that's just not going away, and they don't have the no answers, they can find no answers from anyone?
Mhm.
What
Yes,
are some of the cool things that you have found with those cases?
definitely. And I think to really connect the dots, I'd like to talk about synchronicities. And because that's really one way that I validate my work. Even as a practitioner, sometimes my logical mind pops up and it's like, is this real? And then I'm like, of course it is. And I'm gonna connect the dots and why I know that it is real. And that's synchronicities, meaning my clients, they don't know each other. Everybody who comes to me, it's a confidential session. But what's interesting is that your higher self will say the exact same thing verbatim as maybe my client 6 months ago did. And so,
Mhm.
for instance, knee pain, I'll just do that as an example. The number one cause of knee pain is not being able to move forward in your life, or there is a path that you're supposed to be taking and that you're not walking that path, and that manifests in the knees as pain. Another thing could be stomach pain, digestive issues. Everybody's higher self always will say that it is anger. Anger stores itself in the stomach and will manifest as digestive issues. Headache. Headaches usually is caused by fear of, and it could be anxiety, fear of the unknown or fear of something happening. So, and that can cause a lot of headaches. So I do find that illnesses that they usually will align.
Mhm.
Sadness is stored in the heart and can cause heart issues or anything like that. Indigestion is usually a blockage of the throat chakra, and this is all information that I'm learning from my clients under hypnosis. The responses are the same. I would
Mhm.
also like to backtrack because you talked about this maybe being like woo woo, and maybe for the client that doesn't believe. And I have a logical mind. I'm human too. Sometimes when I hear these way off stories, I'm like, what the heck is happening? Like, is this real? And I
Let me
know that,
read that again.
yeah, because I'm trying to rationalize this. And the way that I do know, number one, is emotion. My clients are often experiencing so much emotion associated with these recollections. When we're in a past life, oftentimes they will start sobbing or crying, because they missed this person. I mean, think about if you touch a hot stove and that the reaction, and you get angry because you burned yourself. You can't fake that. You can't fake emotion. You don't fake sadness. These emotions are real, and so that is one of the ways I validate my work. Number two, I'm going to touch on synchronicities again. Interestingly enough, I've had so many of my clients in a past life regression. They go to this red planet. I'm going to say I suspect that it is a future version of Mars. But and when my clients regress to this place, Alex, I ask the same questions because again, I'm really trying to validate this, right? I'm trying to validate this information. I say, talk to me about this place. Like, is it a monetary society? Every time the higher self is like, no, there's no money here. Everything there is magnetic as far as transportation. There's trains, like kind of like a subway train that all is magnetized. The sky is like a dusky, deep red sky. They can't go outside. They live in like this indoor environment. I ask the same questions and I get the same responses. I really don't know how to rationalize or explain that other than it's just simply the truth. And
Yeah.
so when I do these sessions over and over and I'm really, searching for the truth and I ask those same questions and the answers align, it comes down to trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Especially for some people that don't know each other and they're giving you
Hmm.
some sort of the same answer. It
Hmm.
definitely makes you think like, wow, yeah, like, this is your truth, and that's what you're seeing and hearing. So that's really cool. But as I said, for everybody that, you know,
Hmm.
we have had so many other guests in the podcast that talk about, Reiki. We started with like Reiki, and that's kind of like
Hmm.
the easiest thing on how like we're all energy, and that's also like a quantum healing modality type of thing. So there's a lot of healings and methods like this that are in that realm. And
Hmm.
but yeah, for everybody that's still kind of like on the edge, definitely do a little bit of research. You can also look up Miss Cannon, right? I think I'm
Yes,
saying
Dolores
correctly.
Cannon.
Dolores Cannon.
And, I would like to say I'm actually a trained Reiki practitioner myself.
Hmm.
I often will use Reiki in the sessions because often there is a ton of energy that is coming through in the sessions. And sometimes the clients I'm able to sense as a practitioner, I'm very connected. I can see the way that the body might be moving, that I can tell if your body is experiencing a surge in energy. I will and if I feel called to do so, I will do Reiki over certain areas of the body to get that energy flowing and to open up those channels. So absolutely, to your point, Alex, it is, there's so many different types of healings and modalities that can really, be used to heal the body. So I do incorporate Reiki often with the sessions. And as you mentioned, Dolores Cannon, I would like to touch just for another moment on her. When we talk about those synchronicities, the same ones that I find across my clients, Dolores Cannon found with her clients, she was able to write and author 17 books in her lifetime. She did unfortunately pass away in 2017, but the synchronicities that she uncovered were her clients would regress to lifetimes in like maybe Atlantis or other places, or Lemuria, and she would gather and collect information, and similar to how I do, she would ask the same questions, and she was able to uncover so much information that she authored 17 books from information that came through from the higher selves of her clients. And you talked about your previous guest as well, approaching past life regression from the scientific aspect. I would also like to suggest or recommend to readers a book by Dr. Brian Weiss. He is a psychologist who wrote the book Many Lives, Many Masters. He actually became a past life regressionist himself. So as a psychologist, he same thing. He practical mind. He was very curious and approaching it from a scientific aspect. And he had a client who came in who was in need of severe help, and he stumbled across the past life, by, I want to say almost by accident. He regressed her and automatically, boom, she regressed into a past life. And he thought he was just doing a simple hypnosis session. So the book, Many Lives, Many Masters, is about his exploration from a scientific aspect of the past lives.
That is awesome. And I
Yeah.
love that we have all these tools to really put things in perspective and be like,
Hmm.
what is true, what is not true, what I believe in, and how this fits within my life and how this is going, right? Uh,
Hmm.
to me, I just really love to keep on finding new ways to heal and connect to my higher self. And so I think this is great. What are some of the main reasons people come to you and do this technique?
Absolutely. So many amazing and incredible things happen in a session. Reasons that a client could come honestly can vary depending on where you're at in your point in life. It could be, health related, having aches, pains, illness in the body. Uh, Oftentimes, a lot of people with anxiety, who unknown, anxiety causes, will come to me. And usually, I find that that is linked to a past life experience, something that they have been holding. Maybe they had a traumatic event or a traumatic death in a previous life that was carried on into this one. Anybody who is feeling unfulfilled in their life, I would definitely recommend a session, because your higher self, plain as day, is going to come forward and it will tell you this is what you're meant to do. Your life purpose is this. And will give you advice, direction. I will say this about quantum healing hypnosis, that it is the most profound method of inner work and self healing that a person can do while they're on a spiritual path. It's the most effective method of self improvement.
Hmm. And I
Yeah.
love that you mentioned the mind, body, and soul things. Like
Hmm.
they come to you for all those. And as I always said, this is a whole like our cells, our whole system. So it's you can't heal the physical body and forget about the soul level or energetical body. So I love that this is kind of like a whole thing. We
Hmm.
you revisit all of them, make sure you're emotional, if there's any trauma, if you have any physical body,
Yeah.
any physical pain or anything like that, you kind of like get to everything. and
Hmm.
and I love that because we often hear like you have the answers within.
Yes, which is 100% true. And that's what's so beautiful about these sessions, is that it is an inward journey of self discovery. I, as a practitioner, I'm here to facilitate, but your higher self, your subconscious, is in the driver's seat. We go and we experience where and what exactly your higher self has decided to bring forward for you. And it knows exactly what you need and will release information that will help you exactly where you're at in the current life, life path that you're on.
Hmm. That's awesome. Question:
Mhm.
can I do this session for other person?
Meaning, like, can
Like if
you?
I would like for this to for my mom.
Mhm. Yes. Can you connect? Can your higher self connect with your mother's higher self? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, it is called a surrogate session. And interestingly enough, your higher self has the ability to connect with not only, family members, loved ones, but animals. Animals often come through in the sessions. They know when we're doing this, and even animals either have passed or are, currently living as well. But yes, you can get the answers and connect. For instance, if your mother, you want to do just, healing for your mom, it is possible. I've done it several times in sessions, absolutely. And the higher self of that person will come forward and will answer questions as well in the session. Yes.
That's really
That's a great
cool.
question. It
Yeah.
is. I mean, the possibilities are absolutely, endless. We also I often see, DNA upgrades. Very interesting. What's been happening a lot lately is activation. And what I mean by that is my clients, I've had quite a few clients lately, and even other practitioners in our, our practitioner forum, there is a network of us, will say that a lot of clients are being activated by energy in the session. So, like, very similar, Alex, to Reiki, how, the Reiki energy comes into the palms of the hands. The hands will start to feel a very, very warm sensation. I had a client the other day where the whole time we're doing the session, she's like, my hands are so warm. If I could feel my hands are this warm, tingling feeling coming through my hands. And the whole session, she was saying that. And, after the session, I was like, there's a very high possibility that you've been, activated. The energy is now being, channeled through into the palms of your hands. And she texted me a couple days later saying that she definitely, felt called to do Reiki. And she was going to start taking a Reiki course because she could just feel the energy coming through. And a lot of practitioners have been saying that lately. So very interesting stuff. It's so exciting.
It is. It is super exciting because
Mhm.
we kind of forget how powerful we all are. We
Yes.
have this, we have this power of healing. We can heal ourselves. We can heal others, and we just forget about it. And I think these are some of the cool things that reminds us how cool we are when it
Mhm.
comes to like healing.
Yeah, and what I find is we've only begun to just barely touch the surface of what our mind and bodies and souls are capable of. We have no idea. If you think about it in perspective from a scientific aspect, we only access a very small percentage of our mind. The rest of that is an undiscovered frontier. And that's what I really love about this method of healing is I'm taking a journey into the, subconscious, the quantum realms of your mind, like uncovering what you're capable of, what is has your soul experienced before this lifetime, and it's so fun. I could talk for hours about it.
Please do. What are some of the things that your network of practitioners are
Mhm.
finding out now? Is there more people trying to do this? Or is this is still a taboo for many people are skeptic about it and they don't want to try?
Mhm.
What do you think?
I will say this. I'm going to actually tie back again to Dolores Cannon because she started doing this. If you can even imagine, she started doing this in the 1950s. Think
Wow.
about that era. She was a pioneer, like a spiritual pioneer. She was persecuted, people, called that she was doing the devil's work. I mean, think about that. We're going inward to your own subconscious. I mean, how is that the devil's work? I mean, it's coming through from you.
Mhm.
And so she uncovered a lot, through her books and through her lifetime, and also other, doctors and psychologists who have done this types of work. Now we're I think it's undeniable that there's a shift and that we are experiencing a great awakening. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, more than likely you feel the shift. And more and more people every day are being called to do this work. A lot of times my clients will come to me, same as I went to my practitioner and say, I really wanted to do a session because I think that I'm called to become a practitioner.
Mhm.
And I do also want to highlight that there's two modalities of quantum healing hypnosis. So there is QHHT, which I am a practitioner of QHHT. That is the traditional Dolores Cannon technique and method. It's been unchanged since Dolores started doing this work 50 years ago. But as society evolves and society changes, we need to transform. And a lot of stuff, these days, as we know, especially with since the pandemic, is done online. So there is also BQH, which stands for Beyond Quantum Healing, and that is a technique that does incorporate the methods of Dolores Cannon. It's a technique that was created by her longtime assistant, Candace, and it is an online technique. So we have more flexibility for those of us who want to do online healing and things. And I do get very, very successful results through my online sessions as well using BQH. So for anyone who is maybe curious about becoming a practitioner, just know that there's a few different, modalities and types of healing that is out there for quantum healers.
Yeah, and I love that because that's kind of like, as you mentioned earlier, you are a
Mhm.
Reiki practitioner, and
Yes.
Reiki has been done online for a long, long time too.
Hmm.
And once you go into the quantum healing, we know there's no distance or space or time or anything,
Exactly.
for this type of healings. And I think it makes it that much greater too, because you could be anywhere in the world and connect
Hmm.
to a practitioner and do this type of healing. So it's so super cool.
It really is. And honestly, some of my favorite sessions have happened online. I mean, I regressed a guy once. I got to say one of my favorites is I regressed a client, and he regressed to a time when they were building the pyramids, and it was really cool. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, so how is this done? I asked so many questions, and I did post that video. He decided to release it. It is posted on my YouTube channel, the Soul Experience, and I do, block my client's face out, so it is still confidential. This is mostly like on his side, it's mostly the audio, but that was a very fascinating session, and that was online. So, amazing things can happen. And to your point, yes, and when we're in the quantum, there is no distance, and healing can absolutely occur in the quantum realms.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you guys just have to try it because this is awesome. Whether it's Reiki
Hmm.
or this other modality or any other modality online, it's pretty much the same. It doesn't, I mean, you are in the comfort of your own home, so that's always
Hmm.
super super good. So yeah, different trying new things is always great. And don't get discouraged that some of these modalities you could do online. On the other hand,
Yeah.
it's amazing that you could just be at home and she could be in Vegas and do this for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah, and that's what I find. Sometimes clients really want in-person sessions. I actually had some people fly to Vegas just this past week from Oregon. They were, no, we want to come in person. And that's absolutely fine. I'm completely set up, to do the sessions here, in person. And then a lot of people feel more comfortable from the comfort of their own home, being in their own bed and their own space. And I just love having that flexibility to do healing and to do this work in, however the client wants to receive it. And it's
Hmm.
effective, highly effective either way.
Nice. Do you do this also for like pregnant woman? Can anyone
Mhm.
do this session? Is
Oh,
that
wow.
is
Yeah, absolutely. I like to say that hypnosis is the sister of meditation. It's a very natural state of mind. Actually, maybe I should touch on that for anybody out there, who questions whether or not that they can be hypnotized. 100% you can. Absolutely. Hollywood has done such a bang up job just giving it this concept or feeding it this notion of hypnosis, like you're going to be a zombie or you're not going to be in control of your body. That is could it be further from the truth? It's very similar to meditation. Just like when you meditate, there's still that part of you that's fully aware, like, hey, I'm doing a meditation right now. You always are aware of what is happening. And it's a delve into your subconscious. And it's very natural because you are actually in the state of mind 2 times a day. I do my work in the theta state of mind. So you enter that state when you're falling asleep at night, just as you're kind of starting to drift off into dreamland. And again in the morning when you're just starting to become, aware that you're waking up. It's that right there in that in between state. And so everybody enters that state. So, absolutely, you can be hypnotized. And that is 100% the truth. I will, however, say this as we all know, it's not a new concept. Your thoughts are very, very powerful. If you convince yourself before a session that you cannot be hypnotized, it could be difficult for me to override that programming. Sometimes that could manifest in sessions. It's pretty rare, but whatever thought you believe will manifest and become reality. I had a client recently. It was a really unique session. She, before the session, she's like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can do this. My ego is so powerful. My ego just loves to block everything. My ego needs to be in control at all times. There's a chance that I might have a difficult time. And we talked about that. And I was like, your ego loves you. It's part of you. I want you to get this information too, because your ego is going to become just even more powerful once it gets this information. Doesn't your ego want that? So I did a little bit of work on her, before the session. Sure enough, bam, as soon as we get into the session, I'm the ego. I'm going to block this session, and I spent 2 hours talking to an ego, which was very interesting session. It's probably one of my top 3 favorite sessions because the ego loves to joke and play. And so there's a lot of mind game. Oh, well, ego, you want all the power. You're going to be so much more powerful if you just tell me this information. Don't you want that power? I do want that power. Okay, let me tell you this. And so it was a very interesting session, a lot of mind games with her ego. I got all the information that she came to me for. But it's a testimony to just how powerful
Mhm.
the thoughts are that you create, that you tell yourself, because 100% she created this vision, she created this reality in her head, and as soon as we went into hypnosis, bam, it manifested. And so if you tell yourself certain thing is a possibility, but it will manifest at the session.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, we're invested in ourselves. So might as well,
Hmm.
you know, go open-minded, see what
Yes.
it's there for you. And I think that probably will be the best. And also, put the intention that you want with whatever it is that you want to try. Because
Hmm.
sometimes it's like, I know we can get like super like blocked and be like, no, this is not gonna help me. So
Mm.
if we start with that, it probably won't help you. But I feel like if we have that intention of getting the best results that we can in any of the sessions or modalities, I think we'll have the best bet, just because our body, mind, and soul, it's that powerful.
Yeah, and then some advice to anybody out there who is interested in this modality of healing and has doubts about the ability to be hypnotized. Number one advice I can give you is just relax. I always tell my clients, relax, just as if you're coming to take a nap. When
Hmm.
you when you tell yourself, I'm just here to relax and drift off, that right there is the key. You've let go. And even if you do fall asleep, that is 100% okay with me. I have had plenty of clients answer in between snores. It is not uncommon for them to be
Wow. Okay.
snoring and then answering in between the snores. And so just let go. That's the
Yeah.
best advice I can give you. Just let go, just relax, and
Yeah.
everything will be okay.
I was gonna tell you if people
Mhm.
fall asleep, but yeah,
Yeah, they do, and that's great because that means that tells me I can get all the answers, and the conscious mind that is, trying to analyze and doubt and question everything, that conscious mind is 100% is moved off to the side, and it's just me and your subconscious talking.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I think going back on what you were saying, Hollywood really made it almost scary for people to get
Yeah.
this hypnosis. They have the I feel like we all have, even like if I think about getting hypnotized, I'm like, oh, I don't know, that looks weird. Am I gonna like, after you hypnotize me, is it gonna go like all crazy and like, losing that control of oneself? I think that's what gets
Right.
people scared of this whole thing.
And I will actually touch on that a bit. There's something called stage hypnosis, and that is where you're programmed to do or say certain things. This is couldn't be further from that.
Mm-hmm.
As again, touching on Hollywood, stage hypnosis is very similar to that. Bark like a dog, programming. Like this is nothing like that. This is more going and again connecting with the higher self, which is very, very unique and different modality than typical hypnosis, and getting the answers to help you. So I really don't do a lot of I don't do programming. People might come to me and say, can you program me to quit smoking? Or this is not that type of hypnosis. And I actually will often explain the difference to those people and say, if you're looking for programming for something like that, you may want to seek a different type of different type of practitioner. If you're looking for to really get the answers and find out maybe the root cause. Why do you have this addiction? Why are you smoking? What's the root cause? When what is it linked to?
Right.
What's the emotion or event? How can we overcome that? Can you heal that? It's very different. Then yes, then come and let's chat about a session and see if it aligns for you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of different types of of healing that's out there, and couple different styles of hypnosis. So
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage anyone who's interested or feeling called to definitely do the research. And if anybody wants to contact me, I'm always available to answer any questions as well.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the other questions that they come to you before getting a session that they're
Mhm.
still iffy about it? What are those questions that they might ask you?
Yeah, number one question is kind of what we just touched on is, can I be hypnotized? I'm concerned. And, so I do just basically explain what we went over about how it's just a really natural state. Yes, you can because you do it already 2 times every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I go over, the helpful tips and techniques. Number one is to simply relax. The second, question that people ask me is, how do I overcome my conscious mind? And that basically boils down to not analyzing. So, for instance, when your higher self is sending you a message in a session, I don't care how funny or silly or crazy it sounds, keep talking to me. That's the number one thing I can tell them. Like, don't stop and analyze and be like, this makes no sense. Why am I saying that? Because the moment you start to analyze that, it's very difficult for me to get you over that. So talk quickly. Tell me the first feelings, thoughts, sights, impressions that are popping into your mind, and just keep talking. Because the more that you're talking and just telling me the very first things, I know you don't have the time to
Mm.
analyze.
Yeah.
And then that analytical, that is the conscious mind. I refer to it as Mr. Ninja. Mr. Ninja likes to try to sabotage our sessions sometimes. He likes to get in there and be like, this isn't real. I'm like, 'cause you're making this up. How could you have really gone through it? And so we really want to not engage or talk to Mr. Ninja at all. Every single person, we all have a Mr. Ninja. He's, sometimes those negative thoughts, unfortunately, they can get a hold of us, or, you're not going to be good at this, you're not going to be successful. The more we engage with Mr. Ninja, the louder he gets. So I don't even talk to him. Sometimes he pops up in our sessions though. And so what I say, don't listen to that. Just keep talking to me, and then everything will flow natural, and it'll be a very successful session. Just, don't analyze, relax. Have a mindset of knowing that you do this already and that you can do this. Some other questions that come to me, sometimes people might be scared of the information. I'm really scared. I don't know what, I don't want to find out if something really traumatic happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
That comes up often. And what I tell my clients and what is the truth is, your higher self, it wants to take care of you. It loves you. It's your partner in this lifetime. It will not tell you, it will absolutely 100% will not bring forward anything that is going to scare you or if it is not going to serve your best interest in this lifetime. You have absolutely zero reason to fear. If there is something traumatic, your higher self will simply say, there's no purpose of knowing that. That's irrelevant. I'm not going to answer that today. It will protect you at all costs. So there's no reason to ever be scared of the information that could be uncovered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is awesome, and I think that's important to hear, because I feel like a lot of people with new modalities or something that they might be like curious about, they might be like it's scared and
Hmm.
have like all these like, oh, maybe that's not for me, or it feels weird, whatever. But I think just also, if you guys have any questions, I will put your information too in the show notes,
Hmm.
so you
Thank
guys
you.
can also ask.
Yeah.
But nothing to be scared of. I think the more we know, the better we can serve ourselves in these lifetimes. I think it's just super cool, whether it's something physical that is happening to you, or at a soul level that you feel that it's off within your life. I think having that extra help from our
Mhm.
own selves, it's amazing.
It really is. And, it basically is your guiding intuition, your higher self is always sending us messages and things. I do find that often after sessions that my clients are much more in tune and, with their higher selves because we open that gateway, we open that doorway where you can, communicate and really connect with yourself. And so, anyone who's interested in a session, or if this sounds intriguing to you, then more than likely your higher self is guiding you and saying like, yes, I do have information to tell you, I want to help you on your life purpose. So
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I hope you all do connect with our amazing guest today. Is there anything else that will you would like to tell us today before we go?
yes, again, I did touch that, myself, I wasn't living my higher purpose and I had this feeling that there was more out there. And I suspect that if you're listening to this, that there's a strong possibility that maybe you're in the same position. You're stuck in a job or you're stuck in, doing something that is not fulfilling to you. And it's so easy just to say, "Oh, trust, trust," because I'm aware we live in a monetary society and it can be real scary when you think about the bills and the rent and how is this going to happen? But it does happen. And somehow I always get exactly what I need. It's sent to me. At first it was a little bit slow and it was a struggle, but now I'm busier, I'm helping more people. And so don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take that leap to align with your purpose. It's the reason you're here. It's the reason that you accepted this, this life journey, this path. So trust, follow your intuition because it is guiding you and it will not mislead you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. This has been so super amazing. I hope everybody gets in touch with you, because I think sometimes we all do need this little help to
Hmm.
talk to our own selves and go to the path we were born for in this lifetime. So I think this is
Yes.
awesome. Thank you for all the information today. If anybody wants to find you, look you up, or
Mhm.
do a session with you, where can they find you?
Absolutely. And please reach out if you, even just if you have any questions. I also would like to let listeners know that I do training myself as well. I do past life regression and in between life regression training. So anyone who's interested in becoming a past life regressionist, I offer the training and it's one-on-one. You can reach out to me directly. I'll leave my email. It's the soul experience LV for Las Vegas at gmail.com. My website is the soul experiences plural.com. And follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Jennifer Mitchell, QHHT. I'd love to hear from anyone who's interested or has any questions. It's been
Yes, please.
such a pleasure chatting with you today, Alex. I really enjoyed this conversation that we had, and I hope our listeners do as well.
Yes, thank you. I'm so happy to, find you. And I'm so shout out to our friend Laura Powers for connecting us. She also has an
Yes.
amazing podcast. Do also check Jennifer's podcast, The Soul
Mhm.
Experience. I will put all the links on the show notes for everybody to, connect with you and me too. If you want to know more about me, you can connect at alexbalgud.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. Also, remember my book is out, so you can find it on Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thank you, Jennifer, for all this amazing information today. And please, everybody, have an amazing and beautiful day today. Thank you, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you.